So there's only one video out there on the internet for chicken flour, and it is literally dehydrated chicken that's been thinly sliced, dehydrated on, I think, a range of, she said like 140 to 155. I did it in my air fryer before, which was much smaller than the dehydrator that we had, and it took like 8 hours. I've never done it in the actual dehydrator, so it's gonna be interesting to see if it takes the same amount of time or it takes a different amount of time. But I'm gonna keep my settings at the same temperature that that I saw. So I've done this twice with the air fryer, but this is pioneering a new level, but it's pretty much the same. I want to give credit to the idea that I got this from. I think she calls herself African Keto, and it's pretty neat. It's a much longer video, more detailed. I've kind of done a couple of extra steps already. So basically, you're gonna get organic chicken breast. You're gonna trim off as much of the fat as you can. And the idea is to not cut off your fingers, is to thinly slice the chicken, maybe about like this. I did most of it last night and set it in the refrigerator. I find that overnight some of the water will leach out of the chicken, drying it out a little bit. And so this morning I just drained it, which is really helpful. Honestly, I don't know exactly how helpful it is, but I'm guessing the drier the chicken is, or the less moisture it has, the better. So I think I've got some enough space on here. Let's see. Try not to get chicken on my camera. And I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4 racks. This will be 5. This was the equivalent of about 10 chicken breasts, I want to say, which will make, honestly, not as much as I'd like, but I'll measure it this time and we'll see. Got some extra. I wonder if I've got some space anywhere in here. This is powdered gold. You want to get all of it. There's not a lot of recipes out there, or any really, for what to do with this. I have done several things. I have made, I'm currently eating a 30-day zero carb diet, or way of eating. Don't have to really call it a diet. And so that zero carb is pretty much no plants, no almond flour. So I've been making chicken flour crusts. I've made some homemade protein bars. I'm gonna try crackers, so stay tuned. If I'm successful, I'll do that. Chaffles, if you're familiar with the chaffle craze, it's cheese waffles. Well, this makes it a true chaffle, chicken cheese waffle. There's I'm sure a lot more. It's a good binder. I've used it in the inside of a roulade. I hammered out a steak, or a flank steak, and then I took liver and ground, you don't have to eat liver, but like ground beef, and added egg and the chicken flour to it, and it kind of gave more substance. So I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. I go touching everything, figure out what I did with my lid. There it is. So it's easy. Just try not to get cross-contamination chicken all over the place. Put the lid on the dehydrator. Plug it in. I've never actually used this one. Turn it on. Setting the temp, it's giving me only like a range, so I'm gonna do 158, it says. And we're gonna set it for 8 hours. And then we'll check back in 8 hours. And it should be like the consistency of a crispy jerky. So to be continued. And we're back, part 2. Let's see if I can do this without saying the word so much. Said it a lot in my last video. Kind of nervous doing this, but regardless. So what you're gonna need for this part is a couple of bowls. The last time I did this, I had a really bad blender. I didn't ever use it. It was really old, and there were a lot of things about it that I suggest getting a good blender or a good food processor. I don't have either, but the food processor works well enough for everything else that I'm doing. So I went out and bought a Ninja. They're not terribly expensive. I bought the base model, and I love this thing. They're not paying me. I'm not getting endorsements, but this thing is awesome, you guys. So I've already done a lot of this, and yeah. So here's the finished product. This took way longer in the dehumidifier, or dehydrator, excuse me, than it did in the air fryer. This took, so I started it at like 10 a.m. and by 10 p.m. it was still really bendy. So I added 8 hours when I went to bed, and by the time I woke up, it was good. It maybe could still, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what's enough. I think this is fine. So far, I mean, I'm not really gonna know until I try to bake with it, I guess. So the Ninja got everything pretty good. I was trying to use a grinder, like a coffee grinder, and it just seemed almost a little damp. Like it just wasn't whooshing or blending around in the coffee grinder or the grinder as the last time. So I left it in the Ninja longer. And what I'm gonna do, and I did this before, is I'm gonna take a strainer and I'm just going to separate the really big parts from the fine sift or the fine powder. I'm making up words as I go, you know, or phrases. And we'll just put it back in, but it'll be on a far lesser scale now that I have superior equipment. I've done most of it already. Leave that one for the dog. He's kind of scared of all this stuff, so he's not anywhere near me right now. Do it in moderately sized batches. It's gonna be very loud. I thought maybe I would leave this part out, but nah, let's just go for it. So, turn down your volumes, this is your chance. This blender's so great. I'm gonna do it on high. Words cannot describe how much I love this thing. It's either that great or I was suffering that much with what I had. I don't know. It's so simple. It looks like this. So 10 or so breasts, I'm not exactly sure, no less than 10, gives me about this much. And honestly, if I measure this out, it's gonna make a bigger mess than I've already made. I wanna say maybe, at least 6 cups. It's quite a lot. So this is where my 2 bowls are gonna come in handy. And I'm just gonna push it through. Yeah, it seems just a little more damp, and I don't know if I can put it on the in the oven on like a low setting, because it's just not sifting out like I would like. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So a million years in the dehydrator wasn't enough. I may opt for a couple of rounds in the air fryer next time, just to get the end product to be drier than what this is, because this is a little harder to work with. But you live and learn. Air fryer works. I love an air fryer. I'm not getting paid by them either to endorse this product. I just genuinely love it. It does so many things. It cooks faster. It crisps things all the way around. It's just great. It dehydrates really well. I can't boast that product enough. So this is my chicken flour, and I'm gonna try to see if I can make some future videos on some of the successes I've had with chicken flour and what kind of products I can do. And my remote's gone. As long as it's not in the chicken flour, we'll be all right. Thanks for watching.